Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Becca and today we're doing some plant chores together. I actually have a lot to do and a lot to check on and a lot to just, I don't know, update. So I am starting off in my kitchen. I think I do a lot of my plant chores in the kitchen. The repotting situation is usually occurring in the plant room, but I do also feel like sitting down and repotting and like sitting on my legs is getting a little old. Like I might start to come into the kitchen more often to do it, because also I'm usually more inclined to clean up the kitchen after I'm done. And the plant room is just very easy to keep it messy because it's really just my space and the kitchen I share. So, you know, I don't know. All this to say, welcome back to my channel. We're doing this video and Green Chef is sponsoring, so we're gonna do a little meal break with them a little bit later. I have some plants that I just repotted. I have a repotting video that went up. I don't know when that went up. I did that and I need to water them because I always water in my plants after I repot them. I got a package today, it's from Notion. Look at how cute this blanket is. Oh my God, it's so cozy. I just wanted to show you guys. And on the back, it's like the opposite. It's like those like woven type of blankets. Anyway, I love a blankie, it's so cute. And they also sent me this tote bag, and it's a Baggu tote bag, and it has like a strap on it. And obviously this is like shortened, but I just think that this is the coolest thing. I love a tote bag, so I don't think Notion is gonna see this, but if they do, thank you very much. Okay, our first two, these are actually also gonna need a little bit of help. This one is really, really long and it's getting a little stringy at the bottom, so I'm just gonna chop that off. And then this one is recently on a plank. This is a plank from another plant that passed away and I'm just reusing it again, which is very nice. And I am going to get some twine to get it secured. And I was using plant tape for a while to do this, but I find that the plant tape just, okay, number one, I can never find it. So there's that. But it's also like very noticeable on the wood, like, cause it's green and the wood is brown. So I've been using twine because I find it to be a little bit more gentle than just like, I don't know, what, floss? People don't use floss for this, but you don't want something that's gonna like cut into the plant. So I grab this and I find a spot on the stem that I want to attach, and then I twist it around so that it's kind of looped around the stem one time, and then I pull it up and over. Not really tight, but I just, you know, this one I'm sort of training to be flat, so I'm not doing it super tight. It is gonna need some time to like get to the point where it can be pulled over more and be flat up against the plank, but it's so young and the stem is so short that I'm not super concerned that it's gonna be too big of a thing. And then I just tie it in a bow in the back, and then I can untie it and reuse these as much as I want. And you can see my beautiful Valentine's Day flowers I got from Dan. They smell so good. It's almost like too fragrant, like it's almost giving me a headache. Lilies are just like that, but they're so beautiful, and they literally are like a candle for your entire house. And that bouquet has 5 of them, so we're in for a treat. Okay, so while that's draining out, I wanted to like address this situation. So this is, I literally always forget the name of this plant. It's a Syngonium M or something. Chia pens, I think actually, Syngonium chia pens. This is what the leaves look like. It's living in the cabinet, and I was noticing that we were getting a lot of yellow leaves, just kind of like out of character, and usually that means that there's a pest. And so I noticed this right before I went to California, and I was kind of just like, okay, we're gonna observe. And I took it out of the cabinet because, being that it's a closed environment, pests travel very fast, and the plants in there do sometimes touch each other. I have like a policy in my collection where my plants do not touch each other, but in the cabinet, it's obviously a smaller space, so it happens sometimes, especially with the bigger plants. And so I have my Clarinervium next to this, which is like one of my most like prized plants, and I just didn't want to risk it. So I just took it out of the cabinet and I feel like it could live out of the cabinet just like normally, and it doesn't even need to be in there anymore. It's just kind of in there because that's where I have it. I mean, ideally I'd put it on a plank and it would be on the bench in the plant room, but there's no room for it in there. So it's probably gonna go to the greenhouse whenever that is ready. I did inspect it this morning when I thought of it, and my initial thought was spider mites, because this is like pretty classic spider mite damage. Like, I don't know. I mean, yellow leaves are very normal. I just wanna say that first of all, but like if you see like suddenly a lot of yellow leaves and you know you've been keeping up with your watering schedule, there's a chance that you have a pest, and I just didn't want to risk it. So I did go through with my flashlight and I looked and I just didn't see anything. So it might be a freak situation, but I was not taking any risks, and I'm still not taking any risks. I'm gonna wipe it down just with some water just to clean the leaves off, and I'm gonna see what happens. I mean, I definitely could give it like a spray with like rubbing alcohol and dish soap, but I'm just gonna do water, just like wipe down everything. I do have like even more yellow leaves, like this one could probably get cut off, but I'm gonna leave it just for a little bit longer. And now, like with all of those bottom leaves gone, this plant actually starts like up here and like the pot is down here, which I hate when my plants do that. It does need to be repotted probably eventually. Well, every plant needs to be repotted eventually, but I mean like in the more soon eventually category. So I'm going to probably just pot it in like a taller pot so that I can cover more of these aerial roots. I'm still skeptical. I don't really know. I'm gonna keep monitoring it, but just something to look out for if you have Syngonium. I had a lot of Syngonium in the past. Like one of my most popular videos is actually my Syngonium collection video from years and years ago. And I will get requests to like update on that video. And the update on that video is that I don't have any of them anymore. After the great spider mite outbreak of, I don't know what year it was, 2019, I think, I lost like a majority of my Syngonium, and I only have, I think, just one from that video left. Yeah, it wouldn't be a very fun update video, but I might still do it. I don't know, just because it's so popular. Let's have a lunch break and chat about Green Chef. If you're a person who is looking to simplify your life, but not necessarily cut corners in the enjoyment factor, Green Chef is an amazing way to elevate your meals with their seasonal chef-crafted recipes delivered straight to your door. Green Chef is a CCOF certified organic company that makes options for every lifestyle, including keto and paleo, vegan, vegetarian, fast and fit, Mediterranean, and gluten-free. And today I'm making a personal favorite, which is the vegetarian cheesy corn and potato chowder. I love chowder in general, and when you add cheese and potatoes, it honestly can't be beat. And I love mixing and matching within my boxes like different types of meals. So I usually do like some vegetarian meals and then maybe some Mediterranean meals, or just in general meals that include meat, because it just helps to cater to the desires of both Daniel and I. It's really fun to learn new techniques and just like learn about new ingredients that I wouldn't normally pick up at the grocery store. So if you'd like to try out this meal or any of the other amazing Green Chef options, you can use my code DailyPlants60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. Go to greenchef.com for more details. Okay, so for a long time, I told myself I wasn't going to buy sphagnum moss anymore. And here I am with a new sphagnum moss. Let's just be honest, as a person on the internet, the things that I say are recorded and put on the internet forever. So when I change my mind about things, not saying that this happened like at all, no one has done this yet, but like, you know, if I was to change my mind about something, I do have the thought like, ooh, somebody's gonna go find that old video and they're gonna be like, she's a hypocrite. Okay, so I'm acknowledging that I have changed my mind about something. And that's okay, people change their minds. I originally didn't want to buy sphagnum moss anymore because it's not a very sustainable product. But then I got a lot of feedback when I said that. And just about how basically like maybe I was confusing sphagnum moss with peat moss. And I think that is a lot of it. Honestly, I don't really know. But sphagnum moss is one of those things that you only ever have to buy like once every 3 or 4 years. Like honestly, it depends on how much you go through it, but I really don't go through it. I think the price went up since the last time I bought it. But yeah, I just want to acknowledge that like my mind was changed in that regard, just with like different information and sort of thinking through that decision again. And I'm going to use it to propagate some plants because I want to get back on my propagation grind, and because like experimenting with my plants and doing stuff like that is what really makes owning plants fun, and I haven't done that in a long time. And that was a part of my like New Year intention video, or yeah, my New Year intentions that I talked about in my New Year intentions video. It was to experiment more and do more with that. So I have a little bit of the block because this expands quite a bit. A little goes a long way. So I'm just gonna hydrate a little bit of it for now and then keep the rest in here. And you might be wondering what I am wanting to propagate with this sphagnum moss. Well, a lot of things. I mean, honestly, I could propagate this syngonium that I just fixed up. But the one that comes to mind first is definitely my Alba Monstera. She's looking a little leggy. I mean, the plant leaves are just so small, and I just want to maybe try starting a piece over and see what happens. I have the plant, and like I might as well experiment with it if I can. So that hydrated super quickly. I need to find some little pots, and then I'm gonna go grab my plant. And then basically with sphagnum moss propagation, you can put your plants in a pot in the moss like immediately, so it kind of already looks like its own plant, but it's rooting up. And I think that clear pots are really nice for this type of stuff, or like a nursery pot. Clear pot would be even better so that you could actually like see the roots, but I don't have any clear pots right now. So I'm just gonna see if I can find a nursery pot. And oh, you know what? I do have a clear pot. Do you guys remember those old orchid pots I used? I still have a trillion of them. So I don't even know what I'm saying that I don't have clear pots, because I do. It's on a plank, and when I lifted it up, I heard a crack, and I don't know what cracked. Oh, this little stake didn't make it. Okay, so you know how I used those little, like these little green stakes for my plant planks? Well, it turns out they are not very rot resistant and they do not hold up to moisture or pressure like at all. So pretty much all of the plants, or let's say a lot of the plants that I have on planks, that I have on planks have that. And it's proving to be a little bit scary because I never know when it's gonna snap. So if you remember in my October favorites video, my plank like literally snapped and it broke the plant with it. So I have been so cautious ever since that happened, and like trying to figure out why it happened. And it's just because of those little stake things are not strong enough. I think I'm probably going to replace all of those with bamboo stakes because those are just so much stronger, and they're not necessarily rot resistant, but you can like clear coat them to make them a little bit, you know, last a little bit longer. So I was imagining this top section being a cutting. So you can't really see, can you? But there's two leaves right here. Hold on, I'm gonna bring my camera around actually, because this is like a momentous moment. Momentous, is that repetitive? I don't know. This is a big moment because I don't really like chopping my plants up. So I'm doing this for me and for the plant and for you. So you should see it. Here's the cutting. I think I'm gonna do these two leaves right here. So I'm just gonna cut like here. Yeah. Woo! Okay, we did it. Okay, so this is going to be its own plant. And then we've got another set of leaves a little bit lower. And I don't really know how much I want to chop, to be honest, because I did chop it like right here. So I'm probably just gonna chop here because that's where the growth started getting more leggy. So I'm probably just gonna do probably this. Okay. Cool, so we have a mid cutting, and I don't need this. This is not gonna do anything, like, so I don't need it. I'm just gonna cut that off. But if anybody tries to sell you something like this, what are my bangs doing? Ew. If anybody ever tries to sell you something like this and they're like, ooh, wet stick. No, report them immediately. Better Business Bureau, you need to know about this. I don't think Etsy sellers are on the Better Business Bureau. Anyway, I'm excited about this. This one could actually be 3 cuttings technically because there's this and this. Should I do that instead? I don't know. I suppose I could, because these are both like cool leaves on their own. I'm gonna do it, why not? What if I was like doing this wrong and I had no idea? And I'm like making a YouTube video about it. Trust me, I've done it before. It works. This one will be the cutting that will produce the fastest. Like these are definitely gonna take a while because it's a mid cutting. But yeah, I'm gonna let those callus just for like a few minutes, not a long time. But while those are callousing, I'm gonna go grab another plant and I'm gonna put this back because she is once again a shorty. The next plant up for a chop is my Hoya linearis, which you can see looks like pretty good from far away, but then you come up close and it's not looking good. It's like very frail and skinny, kind of wrinkly. Like you would think it's just thirsty, but even after I water it, it still looks like this. I have successfully rooted other linearis pieces, and this is just in water, and like we have some like little baby plants coming in and the roots are really nice. So, you know, because I'm so iffy about propagating linearis just in general, like I just have been so scared to do it, I'm just going to stick with the water method that I'm doing here, and I've had it in my cabinet. So I think that that is probably the best bet for this to be successful and grow. We will see. I mean, a lot of these, I just have a feeling I'm gonna lose. We gotta try to save our plants when we think that they're doomed. So I'm just gonna cut and create, like I'm gonna remove some old leaves, probably like 2 sets, so that I have 2 places where it could root. I don't know if my camera is focusing on this because it's so fine, but you can see there's a little node here and there's a node here, and it can root. The Hoya can actually root anywhere along the stem, but I like having this long piece because I want it to, when I do repot it eventually, I want it to have like enough space for it to go into the pot and like be kind of deep so it doesn't get ripped out really easily. So I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna do that. Some of these have already done that for me. Like this one, I just need to remove these 2 and it's already done. Oh, and important to note before I like send you into the music sequence, these are like woody pieces. Like, oh my gosh, did you just see the dust that came off of that? Okay. This is useless. This is not gonna grow. Linearis, I've heard, you know, Hoya can go woody after they've gotten pretty mature, but this is not mature woody growth. This is literally like it's dead woody growth. Like it should not be able to snap like that. That's not good. So I'm just gonna cut off everything like even remotely close to that, because I find that that woodiness kind of spreads down the vine if you let it continue, which is what I have done, and it's not fun. So you're gonna lose a lot of plant, but it will be eventually worth it, hopefully, when this reroots. Some of them were definitely just toast, like this one, so we're not even gonna bother with that. But the rest of these, I have some vases that I can put them in. See, I like this one a lot, like the shape, but I don't know how well that's gonna do in the cabinet just because this base is so wide. I need something a little bit skinnier. So maybe I'm gonna go with this one. I don't know, what do we think? I feel like that's gonna fall out. Like I need something that will be a little longer. Maybe this one. It's like a smaller version of this. That is perfect, actually. Kind of glad that I keep all of these things. At the same time, I like hardly ever reach for them anymore because I don't really do water propagation that often. But there are times when it really comes in clutch to thrift this kind of stuff and keep it forever. It now has water, and I'm just going to put it in the cabinet next to its already rooted sibling. I'm just gonna wait for them to both be rooted up and then I'll just pot them together. Also, I want to note in regards to this linearis propagation situation, I fully do not expect all of those to root. Like there was definitely some that were stronger than others. So if I even get like a 50% rooting, I'm gonna be happy about that because a lot of them just didn't look good. And now I also shared in the past that I was doing a little experiment on these Hoyas. So I don't have a lot of experience propagating Hoya, like to be honest. And I fully am so shocked. Look at those roots. Okay, I'm gonna level with you guys right now. I opened this thinking I opened this thinking that I was gonna be like, this is proof that I'm not successful with propagating Hoya. I was fully expecting to show a fail, okay? So imagine my surprise when I open this up and I see new growth. Not a lot, but like this plant looks like it has had a 360. And you know what? This might even be new. It feels very, very thin, and I don't recognize that growth. I think that that's new. There's 2 leaves right here that I think are new, and those roots. I was fully not expecting that. They are reaching down into the water that's in this little cashpo. Wow. Maybe I should do this for the Linearis instead. I don't know, but they've been in a plastic bag in a little like lighthouse situation on my counter. And to be honest, I haven't looked at this in weeks, months, possibly, because I was afraid that I was killing them and I just didn't want to come to terms with it yet. But this plant has made it through. Like, I'm shocked. I'm gonna keep it in there because it seems to be happy. And there's even like new growth right here. Although it is a little deformed, that is new growth. And this has plumped up so nice. It was so thin when I put it in the bag. And then this is the other Linearis propagation that I was doing. This was the butterfly method. And we're definitely like continuing to lose pieces. Like, I honestly, I expected this to happen, and I doubt any of these have rooted yet, but we do still have a few in here. So, you know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's a lesson learned. Now I will know that the water propagation for Linearis works better for me. So far, that is the consensus because we have like a lot of losses here. Definitely more than 50% have been lost already at this point. I'm gonna see if I can tug up on this one that looks kind of promising. Okay, see? That has rooted. Okay. I'm gonna have to shove that back in there somehow. But it's not a fail. It's not a fail. And maybe I just need to water this more often. I don't really know. It does still feel like pretty moist in there, even after I haven't watered it in God knows how long. But I do feel like I need to go through this and like pull out all the cuttings to see what has rooted and what hasn't, and maybe set up another situation like this, because I'm propagating this in De La Tanks, by the way. If you're curious, I'm trying out different like propagation methods. So soil propagation has never really worked for me, but Adam propagates Linearis in, not Linearis, Hoya in De La Tanks. So I was like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. So this was my experiment, and with this net pot that I got, I think from him. So I think I have another net pot, I think. If not, maybe I could buy a few, I don't know. That is way better news than I was expecting. And they've been living in this bag. As you can see, it's like, well, I don't know if you can see, but it's like wet in this bag. So it was very, very humid in there, and that's probably why this worked. But I'm gonna quickly pull all of these out just to like get the dead ones out and see what else has rooted. Okay, it is literally my lucky day because I do actually have a little like leca setup. This is a net pot with a little cup, and it fits perfectly in there. So same situation as this. I am now just deciding if I want to do soil still for these or if I want to do sphagnum moss. I feel like spag might be a better option. A lot of them did root, like more rooted for sure than I expected. But I just feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe more would root if they had more of a moist environment or an environment that was a little bit more compact. I don't really know. So I do know that my friends that use this type of stuff will have like a wicking cord. So I just grabbed like a piece of cotton yarn, it's just macrame yarn, and I'm going to stick that up in here. I don't really know how I'm gonna get this through. Maybe a piece of tape at the end. Hopefully that will keep it nice and moist. I don't know. It should. I mean, that's the way wicking cords work, right? So when you're using spag, you don't want it to be like soaking wet. So I kind of just take it and like, let me get a big section so you can see. I kind of just like wring it out to get like any extra moisture out of it. Not too hard though, because you do still want to have a little bit of moisture in it. I'm not like mega concerned though, because I'm gonna have the cord in here and I'm gonna put water in the bottom of this so that the cord can like, you know, hydrate the cup. or the cuttings. And I'm just gonna stick these back in. I don't really know, like maybe I could just like bunch them together, bunch a couple of them together and see. Maybe being closer to each other will help. There's a lot that didn't root, but there's also a lot that I can tell we're trying. So that is promising. Like I can definitely see some roots starting to form. And this one like rooted into a cocoa chip. Oh, okay. That was easier than I thought. I didn't want to break it. And then this big boy. Filled my cup with some water and in she goes. I will keep an eye on this over the next couple of weeks and definitely let you know in future plant chores videos how it's going, because now that this is not a fail, I'm like really invested. I feel like they're my little children and I need to make sure that they live. I don't know. There was just like a certain threshold of like, I don't think this is gonna work, so I'm not gonna get that invested, but now it's like kind of working. And I feel like if I just keep putting love into it, it will work. So yeah, I will keep you updated on this whole situation. All right, my Monstera cuttings have had plenty of time to harden off. So I'm going to quickly do these. This looks so pretty. Hold on, I'm gonna take the thumbnail. Okay, thumbnail taken. I have 4 clear pots for 4 Monstera cuttings. And I'm just going to fill them with spag. I am making a big giant mess. All right, first piece, which will be like my crowning glory piece, the most beautiful of them all. I'm going to stick it in here and then just like soil, we're backfilling around. Okay, hold on, a little fluffy. And you do wanna, like, you don't wanna make it too tight, but spag is so similar to soil, so you just wanna just stick it in there, and I'm gonna keep adding until it fills up the pot, because we don't want our cutting to fall over. We also don't want to pack it like too terribly tight. So that'll probably be perfect right there. Okay, we've got our mid cuttings. Kind of lay it on its side a little bit so that it can stand up straight. And then sneak in some moss. All right, now repeat that for all of your cuttings. Okay, for some reason I thought that I had 4 cuttings, but I only have 3. I don't know what happened, but I think it's because I have 4 leaves. I assumed that I had 4 cuttings. Here they all are, and they look very, very cute all tucked into their moss. If you are wanting to propagate in sphagnum moss and you've never done it before, basically the key is to let it act like soil. So not as much in the very, very beginning. Like these are like very fresh cuttings. So I will be kind of keeping it moist for at least a week, but after that, and especially after you start to feel like if you try to pull up on it and it is a little bit, well, I just tried to pull up on it right now and it's kind of a little bit tough to pull out, but probably about after a week, I start to let it completely dry out between waterings, just like I would for soil. So sphagnum moss, when it's dry, it's very hard, like you saw, like in its original state. So it'll kind of go back to that sort of a state. And because these pots have all of these holes in them, I'm gonna have to bottom water to rehydrate this. So I'll probably just get like a bucket like this, or maybe just fill up my sink and stick them in there, and then let the sphagnum moss rehydrate. And because these are kind of squishy, I'll be able to sort of like, I don't know, squish out like extra moisture, or I can kind of push down around the edges to not cause any rot or anything like that. But these are going to live in my cabinet, I think in the space where this was, because I'd really just prefer to not like have this in the cabinet if I can put these in there instead. So yeah, those are in there now. And I think that's all I'm gonna do for this video. That was a very productive situation. I'm really happy with everything that we got done and all the propagating we did. I mean, again, I'm just really trying to lean into propagating and experimenting with my plants this year again, and just getting back into the groove of doing that. It's really, really fun to be able to, I don't know, chop and prop whenever I get the gumption to do it, because I really don't like chopping and propping my plants, because my plants, I like when they're very big, and then if I chop and prop, that means I have more plants, but it's just opportunities for me to give plants away to people, or gift them, or make my existing plants even fuller. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and hanging out with me, and thank you to Green Chef for sponsoring. You can check them out in the link in the description box. And yeah, if you want to see future updates on all of these plants, you can subscribe to my channel. I do have a goal of hitting 100,000 before my birthday, which is March 31st. So I would love for you to be a part of that whole movement of making that dream come true. The birthday dream come true. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.